thing we need to do is get the toilet out of our workspace. And then the next step we're going to take will be starting to get the laminate ready to put laminate on the floor. And since our toilet is evacuated from water, it's okay for us to just carry it into the other room. Now when you're picking up a toilet, they're very heavy and they're very awkward. And the best thing to do, if you're going to do it by yourself, is get 2 points on it where you can get a hold. And generally when it's this way, you can pick it up this way. Now it's heavy, but since I've got a cantilevered advantage, we're doing all right. So what we'll do is just walk it out into the other room out here. And again, we have to be very careful, since they're porcelain, not to break the toilet. The new toilet can run anywhere from $100 to $200, so we want to make sure that we protect that investment. Now we are getting ready now to get the floor level so that we can then estimate how we're going to attack putting the laminate floor down. Now we took all those baseboards off, as you remember. We've taken the toilet out, we've taken the old wax off, we've put our plug in here so that the sewer gas doesn't come up. And now what we have to make sure is that areas that it was caulked to the floor, we have to make sure that we remove that caulk. And I'm back to using my favorite friend here, the putty knife, to make sure that all the way around we remove that. Now corners are kind of a pain in the neck because it's double whammy. The other thing, while I'm at it, is caulk up against these walls. You see that? So we might as well do all our caulk removal at one time, because when we put our quarter round back in, we just have to do it later. So I'm going to go around and do the rest of the floor all the way around this area, and then we'll go ahead and talk about how we measure and get ready to put the floor down. This is our laminate flooring. The house was done with this Armstrong Swift Lock flooring, and we had 2 extra boxes left over, which is more than enough for us to go ahead and do the bathroom. I'm just going to cut this open a second in case you're not familiar with this type of flooring. I think most of us are nowadays. It's become very popular. First time I ever used this, it was so new that you had to glue the flooring together. And thank God they've come up with ways that we lock it together without having to use glue. But if you look at these edges here, let me get it in the light here a little bit more so you can see it. But if you look at these edges, you'll see that they're machined to snap together, and then the end pieces are machined so that the pieces going on the end can snap together. All right. So this is what we have throughout the house. In fact, the other bathroom, they've already gone ahead and used this flooring in it. Now these pieces are 4 feet long, and what we're going to do, let me walk behind over here. What we're going to do is start here at this edge, because this is probably our truest edge, this edge along the bathroom, or the shower. Because you always want to start with this piece square. And if I look at it, you can see that it's fairly square. And what I've done in bathrooms before, some of the people that put these down put a transition piece on here. And what I find when you do that is the water gets down and underneath. It tends to have it warp. And what I do in a situation like this is I take off the little lip edge, the guide edge that locks together. I'll cut this off so that this is flush up against it. And then once it's done, and as closely butted to it as we can do, we'll caulk that with a silicone caulk. Now a silicone caulk is a caulk that is waterproof. Some of the newer water washable ones claim to be, but I still find that the older type, GE makes their silicone caulk. In fact, they were the first ones. It used to be called RTV, which stands for room temperature vulcanization. In other words, it becomes a plastic once it's down. What we have to do now is to figure out what kind of program we're going to do to install this. We install it by taking a piece, adding the next piece from here, starting that over here, and stagger them as we go down. So the other thing is, once we get to where the toilet is, we're going to have to make cuts with our jigsaw. Our pieces here we're going to have to be cutting and putting together, but when we get down to this area here, we'll be using less than a 4-inch piece, or 4-foot piece. So what we need to know is how many pieces are we going to have here and to cut. I need to measure this distance, and we are looking at 33 inches roughly. Now each of these boards for use is about 7 3/8. That's the visible surface that you see. So at 33, we're primarily going to be putting 4 pieces down with the laminates over the end and having to do a little cut in over here. So we're going to get some pieces and just dry lay them down right now.